Do you remember the first time? That first encounter with a sound so delicate, so intricate, it felt like it was happening inside your own head. A gentle whisper that wasn't just heard, but felt. A soft tapping that seemed to trace patterns on your brain. For many of us, that first experience with ASMR autonomous sensory meridian response was a revelation. It was a wave of calming, tingling sensations, a quiet euphoria that seemed to come from nowhere. But then, something changes. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the magic begins to fade. The triggers that once sent shivers down your spine now barely register. The artist you once relied on for that sense of deep calm now just sounds quiet. You've developed what many call tingle immunity or desensitization. It leaves you wondering, was that initial experience just a fluke? And why does this feeling of profound relaxation seem so hard to get back? The answer isn't about the sounds themselves. It's about the silent conversation they're having with the deepest, most ancient parts of your brain. And today, we're going to explore that conversation, a story of novelty, prediction, and the relentless pursuit of a fading echo. When you first listen to ASMR, your brain is on high alert. It's presented with a new kind of stimulus, incredibly detailed, intimate sounds that don't signify any obvious threat. Neuroimaging studies have shown that for those who experience ASMR, these sounds activate key regions of the brain. Specifically, areas like the medial prefrontal cortex, which is linked to self-awareness, and the nucleus accumbens, a crucial part of our reward system, light up. This initial reaction is powerful because of novelty. Your brain is an efficiency machine, constantly building models of the world to predict what will happen next. A new, complex, and pleasant sound is a puzzle. The brain devotes significant attention to it, trying to understand and categorize it. That focused attention, combined with the activation of reward pathways, is what can create that intense, pleasurable feeling. It's not just a sound, it's a deeply engaging sensory event. But the brain is also designed to adapt. Once it learns that these gentle whispers and soft taps are predictable and, most importantly, harmless, it stops allocating so much energy to them. This process is called neural habituation. It's the same reason you eventually stop noticing the hum of a refrigerator or the ticking of a clock. Your brain has learned the pattern, filed it away as safe and unimportant, and moved on. The very thing that made ASMR so powerful, its predictability and safety, becomes the reason its effects diminish. The magic wasn't in the sound itself, but in your brain's initial, captivated response to it. Now, let's consider two other experiences that hold our attention with an iron grip: the pull of a slot machine and the endless scroll on our phones. On the surface, they seem like the opposite of calming ASMR. They are stimulating, fast-paced, and often agitating. But they share a common root mechanism with ASMR, and by understanding their differences, we can understand why ASMR's power fades. Both gambling and social media algorithms are built on a powerful principle: unpredictable rewards. When you pull the lever on a slot machine, you might win, or you might not. When you refresh your social media feed, you might see a fascinating video, a message from a friend, or nothing of interest. It is this uncertainty that hijacks the brain's dopamine system. Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but it's more accurately the molecule of motivation and anticipation. It's released not just when we receive a reward, but in anticipation of a potential reward. The unpredictability keeps the dopamine system firing, creating a state of wanting and craving that compels you to pull the lever or scroll just one more time. ASMR, in its most common form, is the exact opposite. It is profoundly predictable. You click on a video titled "Gentle Tapping on Wood for 1 hour," and you know precisely what you're going to get. The comfort is in the predictability. But for the brain's reward system, predictability can become boring. Once the surprise factor is gone, the dopamine release associated with anticipation dwindles. This is where the paths diverge. The very consistency that makes ASMR a tool for relaxation and sleep is what makes it susceptible to habituation. The slot machine and the endless feed never allow your brain to fully predict the outcome, so it never fully adapts. It remains in a state of heightened alert, forever chasing the next potential reward. This leads to a fascinating pattern of behavior in long-term ASMR listeners. As the original triggers lose their effect, many find themselves on a quest for novelty. They start searching for new artists, new sounds, or more obscure trigger types, the crinkle of a material they've never heard before, a more complex role-playing scenario. This isn't a sign of weakness or a flaw in character. It is a completely rational response of a brain seeking a sensation it once found deeply rewarding. It's a gentle echo of the gambler who needs to increase the bet to feel the same rush. The underlying drive is the same: to re-engage a reward system that has adapted to the old stimuli. We are all, in our own ways, explorers of sensation, and when one landscape becomes too familiar, we naturally seek out new territory. But is the magic gone forever? Is tingle immunity a one-way street? Anecdotal evidence from countless listeners and even some preliminary research notes suggest a simple yet profound solution: abstinence. Many report that after taking a break from ASMR for a few weeks or even a month, the sensations return with near original intensity. This phenomenon is known as deprivation and re-exposure. By stepping away, you allow your brain's sensitivity to reset. The neural pathways that had become so accustomed to the stimulus get a chance to rest. When you return, the sounds are once again perceived as novel, allowing that initial, powerful, attentional, and emotional response to re-emerge. This cycle isn't unique to ASMR. It's a fundamental rhythm of human experience. Think of the first bite of your favorite food after a long time without it. Think of the intense joy of seeing a loved one after a period of separation. Or consider the power of a song. The first time a piece of music gives you chills, a phenomenon called frisson, which is neurologically similar to ASMR tingles, it can be an incredibly moving experience. Neuroimaging studies show that, like with ASMR, these musical chills are associated with a sudden release of dopamine in the brain's reward centers. Yet, if you listen to that same song on repeat, the effect inevitably diminishes. The emotional landscape of the song becomes too familiar. It's only by letting it rest, by allowing it to become a memory, that we can one day return and feel its full power again. So, what does this journey, from intense discovery to fading familiarity, and the search for rediscovery tell us about ourselves? It reveals that our brains are in a constant, delicate dance between two fundamental needs: the need for the comfort of the predictable and the thrill of the unknown. We use the predictable to calm our nervous systems, to feel safe, to rest. But we need the unpredictable to feel engaged, to learn, and to feel truly alive. The fading of a sensation is not a failure. It is the signature of a healthy, adaptive brain doing exactly what it was designed to do: learn, predict, and conserve energy. This process doesn't need to be judged or resisted. It simply asks for our understanding. It reminds us that appreciation for the subtle pleasures of life, whether it's the sound of rain, the taste of a meal, the beauty of a song, or the touch of a loved one, is sharpened by absence. Perhaps the goal isn't to find a permanent, unchanging source of pleasure. Perhaps the true art lies in learning the rhythm of our own nature, knowing when to immerse ourselves in sensation and when to step away into the quiet, so that we may return and hear the magic for the first time, all over again.